You're watching Utah's #1 news channel. This is 2 News at 10. This is breaking news from 2 News.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for 2 News at 10 tonight. We do have a really serious situation developing in Salt Lake City right now. A big water main break turning 1700 South into a river, causing lots of damage to homes and businesses.
This all started around 8:30 tonight, and this big break is causing big problems. Our Christina Flores live with more on this breaking news for us. Christina, what can you tell us? It looks like this is very extreme.
Yeah, you know, it would not be an exaggeration to say that this is a big emergency here in Salt Lake City. Look at the river of water. We are standing on 1700 South, west of Foothill, between Foothill Boulevard and 2100 East. The water has not let up. We've been here for at least a half hour, and the water is just gushing down the street. We already know that many homes in this area have been flooded, and I don't know if you can see the house here behind me. The driveway dips down a bit. The water has almost reached the top of the garage door, and people here in this neighborhood are very worried. They don't know if anyone's home there. Firefighters seem to be making their way up the street, checking on people, checking on houses, but the water has not let up since we got here. It is very important for people, if you don't have any business here, if you don't live here, stay away from this area. Again, 1700 South, between 2100 East and Foothill Boulevard. This situation is very serious. All we know, Mark and Shauna, right now is that there was a water main break. We think somewhere on Foothill Boulevard, but it is so big right now. The fire crews here are really overwhelmed. I know they're calling in for additional resources. One firefighter told me all we can do right now is try to put a Band-Aid on this. We haven't even begun to stop the water. Again, a very serious situation here, Mark and Shauna, and people out here are just in shock. A lot of people walking around, coming to see what's happened. I've seen neighbors trying to run up and down the street with shovels, but this is not something that shovels are likely going to stop.
All right, Christina, we're told that this could be a 36-inch line, which is a very big pipe. We just want your cameraman to zoom off of you and show us that river of water behind you, because it looks like you're standing next to the Jordan River Parkway. This is a lot of water coming down the street.
Christina, also
it is a lot of water.
It seems like it was so sudden. Were people able to get into their homes and get any of their belongings, or was this really instantaneous?
You know, it seems like when the water started coming, it started coming through here with such force. I've seen some homeowners come out of their homes, and it's very clear that there is nothing they can do. Perhaps they just had a few minutes warning to grab some things, but there's just too much water out here. And we have seen it, the homes that we're standing in front of, you're looking at right now, we've just seen the water completely overtake the lawns, in this case, the garage. I understand from people who've gone down there, and also from some firefighters, that homes on 2100 East, that is where the water is moving toward, are really hit hard in that area. So I think people right now are just scrambling to do what they can, but the force of this water is it's really just too much at this point.
What about traffic, Christina? That's an area that is really heavily traveled, especially on a Friday night. Were cars able to get out of the way of the deluge?
So of course, as usual, there is traffic out right now, but some of the streets are blocked. People who live here in the area are trying to get home, and fire crews are trying to say, listen, stay out. We're trying to get this situation under control. So they're letting a few people in, but people who don't need to be here really shouldn't. It is hard to get in here, it is hard to get out, and you'd be getting in the way of fire crews if you try to come through this area just to look.
All right, Christina.
Again, the firefighter that I talked to said this was a water main. I think you mentioned it was a big line, and I know that a lot of the lines here in Salt Lake City, there are some lines that are pretty old. I don't know if it has anything to do with age, this rupture, but perhaps that might be the situation. We're still waiting to hear on that.
All right, Christina, stay there. Stay in position there. We're going to continue to follow the story. We are advising people, though, this is a big break, 36 inches, a lot of water coming down 1700 South, and also heading down towards 2100 as well. So there are going to be some problems.
And that's an area that typically is really busy on a Friday night because a lot of people coming in and out of Foothill Village. Stay away from that area, as Mark mentioned. Chris Jones also on the scene for us tonight, keeping an eye on damage that's been caused by this break thus far.
Chris, what can you tell us? What are you seeing there where your vantage point is?
Well, guys, we're basically at ground zero of this mess. We're at 1700 South Foothill, and I'm just going to step out of the way so you can take a look at it. This is sort of the source of all the water that Christina is talking about down at the bottom of 1700 South. This is where it is all coming. At this point, we're getting some updated information for you, and you were talking about a 36-inch pipe. What we're hearing is 48 inches, so even bigger than what was originally reported. According to the fire department, not only is there a concern about the water that is rushing into the homes that are nearby, there is a possibility that this road could collapse, according to firefighters. They say at this point they're also concerned about a power line that is just beyond the break that we're looking at right now. They're concerned about the stability of that power line. What they're telling people who live in this area at this point is they want them to try and store as much water as they can in their bathtubs, because the water department has to shut off the water. That's the big problem at this point. They haven't been able to do that, and they're waiting for the water company to be able to come out here and shut off the water. Now, when I arrived here, the water was spewing out of the road at a much higher rate, so it's beginning to slow at this point. With me now are the birds who were kind of in the area at the time. It was about 8 o'clock, and you saw sort of a trickle where we see that huge fountain right now. Tell me about that.
So we live on 21st East, just south of 17th South, and we saw our gutters were filling up with water, and so we decided to drive up here and could see just it was just a small little spouting of water coming out, and then we went back home, and it's basically a river running down our street at this point.
Nick, now you came up here and you saw the water. There was a water truck here, and they were sort of tending to it, right? What did it look like when you saw it?
Yeah, it looked like they were doing some kind of work down in the manhole, and there was a water pump at the top of it, and then I guess it just started breaking, and then the water was coming up too much, and so they kind of moved back, and this just turned into a river down the road.
So it was pretty clear to you that they knew. I mean, they obviously knew they had a problem on their hands, but at the time it didn't seem that as big as it is now, obviously.
Yeah, you're right. And it's just there was so much water and debris washing down. It looks like that all the dirt is coming out from underneath the road, and they've moved everybody back so that in case it were to collapse, and all the lights might fall in and stuff.
So you were telling me that you saw a lot of debris sort of, I guess, cascading down 1700 South as the water carries it down, right? How big were the rocks and debris that you saw?
Right, quite big. They're size of like bowling balls and stuff like that. And they would go down and it hit all the driveways that were coming up 17th and shooting up probably about 3 or 4 feet. And then I think all the houses it'd be the south side of 17th South. It looked like most of them were going to get flooded because there's so much water coming down it.
So there's obviously a huge problem when you've got water that is pouring down a major thoroughfare. But the main concern here is the fact that there's a major incline. If you know this area, as you head down 1700 South from Foothill, I mean, we're talking about a major incline, 45 degrees, something like that, maybe?
It's quite steep, yes.
So you've got the water, you've got a lot of water, and you've got the water obviously traveling at a faster rate simply because of the fact that you've got this very severe incline. At this point, as you can see, the water beginning to sort of subside a little bit. I don't know if that means that the water is off and this is just sort of residual. If you take a look, you can see Rocky Mountain Power has arrived on the scene. They are in the process of assessing those power lines up here at Foothill Drive and 1700 South. That, as I mentioned earlier in this report, is a major concern. The power lines around here, a concern that this road could collapse, and a concern that those power lines nearby could join them in that collapse. Again, just to reiterate, firefighters telling us that they want those of you who live in this area to fill your bathtubs with water. You're going to need it when the water is completely shut off. It looks like we're beginning to see that sort of lessen at this point. But at this point, guys, a major disaster up here. 48-inch pipe. That is a massive, massive pipe, guys.
All right, our Chris Jones, again, we initially said 36-inch, 48-inch pipe. That's a big pipe, and that, as you can tell, there's a lot of water there. Chris, keep your camera hot there. You stay there. We also got Christina in place.
And we also want to talk with Amy Nate now. She's joining us on the phone. She lives in that vicinity. She was driving by this right when that break burst. She was there in the area. We talked with a viewer, a witness there, about these boulder-sized rocks, bowling ball sized, rolling down the street, Amy, and you witnessed some of the same?
Well, that's right, Mark and Sean. It was really something. I think we were driving through that region around 8:45. We just had dinner up around 21st South and 23rd East, and my husband and I were driving down along 23rd going north, and we started seeing massive amounts of water roll down the road, filling up the rain gutters. And remember, this is October, so these rain gutters are already sort of full of leaves, kind of keeping the water out. So it was just rolling down the water down the main street. When we got to the intersection of 17th South and 23rd East, we started going through, and it was a wall of water, probably 4, maybe 5 feet tall, and yes, full of boulders and big, giant chunks of debris just slamming, going down at such a high rate of speed. I thought, I got to call this in. I hope they know what's going on. I hope there's emergency, personnel on the scene. But it really was quite a thing to witness, and now I realize that would have just been a few minutes after that break initially occurred. Sadly, you could see a lot of homeowners come out who are right along like 22nd, 23rd East, and with those rain gutters spilling over and the road full of water, there's nowhere else for that to go. It was rushing into people's yards and sadly probably rushing into their homes.
All right, Amy, thank you so much for that eyewitness perspective. We so appreciate it. Glad you and your family are okay at this hour.
All right, let's go back to Chris Jones. They're doing a news conference now to give homeowners in that area the latest update on what's happening. Chris?
I'm just going to get... I'll jump out when you...
Go ahead, Chris.
Hey guys, we're with Jason Acey with the fire department. Jason, what do we know? Have they turned the water off?
It's looking like the water's going down. I don't think it's completely off, but just having it go down lower is a big deal right now. We're concerned because there are several homes down the street who are reporting of having floods in their basement.
Are we getting any sort of assessment of numbers?
Not as of right now. I'm guessing right now it's around 10 homes that I've heard. And so hopefully we've been able to do a good job and lay down some large diameter hose. That's what we are doing to try and keep the water going down 1700 South rather than getting into people's homes.
So 10 homes that you've heard may have water in them?
Approximately 10 homes have reported some type of flooding, and we're working to solidify that number and also make sure that there aren't any other homes that have been compromised.
So what about power in this area? Is there any threat that Rocky Mountain Power might have to turn it out?
So we've called in Rocky Mountain Power. There is a large power line right here at this intersection that we're concerned about with so much water. We've called them in to not only assess the situation with the power line, but also any electrical issues that some of the homes would have if they were flooded.
Now, this may not be your realm of expertise, but 48-inch pipe, I mean, we're talking, is that as big as it gets for water pipes, or would you know?
I'm not sure how big they get. I know that this was a big one, and as everybody that was here a little earlier when they saw the water gushing down, I mean, that's just a lot of gallons of water going quickly down the road.
Any injuries or anything like that?
As of right now, we don't have any injuries that have been reported, which is always a good thing, and our crews have been working very hard down the road, helping people, trying to keep their homes safe from the water.
Okay, Jason Acey with the Unified Fire. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's sort of the latest out here, a 48-inch pipe. According to Jason Acey with the fire department, he's telling us that he is hearing that there is water in at least 10 homes at this point. It looks as if water is off, guys. My assumption is that you can see that right now. With the next big concern, of course, are the power lines in the area. Rocky Mountain Power in the process of assessing those. What firefighters are telling us tonight is if you live in the area, the water is off, start to store some water. It's going to be important because they don't know how long this water is going to be out. 48 inches, that's huge. So it could take some time to get water flowing back through this area. Guys, back to you.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. That new information, approximately, at least the number that the fire department knows at this point in time, 10 homes that have suffered some flooding because of this water main break tonight.
You know, you have to think, too, there's going to be more homes as well downstream as this water runs down. As Amy said, this was a 4-foot wall of water with debris and rocks and bowling ball size boulders. So this is a big deal. There could be more. this is what we know, 10 homes, but it could be worse than that.
And I keep thinking about all the families that are out on a Friday night, out to dinner, out to a movie, don't even know that any of this is going on and what they're coming home to tonight. We want to go to Christina Flores, the very first on the scene of this situation. And Christina, you described this as an emergency situation, and it really seems like this is exactly the case.
No, it definitely is. And, you know, I heard the number that about 10 houses have reported flooding. I can count 4 houses right in the small spot where I am right now that are certainly flooded. And it's not just small flooding. This is really serious. We just saw the fire department come through here, bring some hoses. I'm guessing they're going to try to pump some water out of here. But the house that I'm standing directly across from, I can't imagine that the damage there is anything but serious. That garage is almost filled with water. And right now they're just trying to keep people out of this street. Again, the firefighters lading hoses right now, trying to get closer to 2100 East because obviously the water is going downhill and it seems that's where it's ending up, the houses in that area. But again, here on 1700 South, it is very serious in terms of the damage. I've seen some of the homeowners finally come out of their houses. Really, you just feel so bad for them because there's really nothing they can do right now except get out. Mark and Shauna, just, you know, really serious. And I have seen the water pressure seemingly let up just a little bit, but it is definitely still flowing out here right now.
Oh, you can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, looking behind you.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
Yes, in the video.
It sounds like a rushing river. And like we said, Shauna, they reported possible flooding in 10 homes, but you don't know what's happening farther on down where the water's going as well.
Christina, give us some perspective if you can, because you're out there. What are the homeowners, what's their reaction? What is their mood like out there?
Well, right now I keep seeing people come and go, and most of the people out here are just coming here to look. Everyone's just sort of in disbelief. I'm trying to find someone here. Will you come on over here for a second? Yeah. What is your name?
I'm Josh.
Josh, so what brought you out here tonight?
Just all the cars, all the interest. It's crazy. You don't see this around here much.
How would you describe the situation for people who might be at home watching this?
Chaotic, sad. Yeah, it's this house right here is completely gone. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad for them.
Do you know any of the people who live in any of these homes?
I don't. My dad lives past that light, so thank goodness. He's on 17th, but his house isn't affected.
You've already called them and checked on them?
Yeah.
Okay, but you're just out here like everyone else
just
looking?
out here just stargazing. Yep.
Okay. All right, thanks for talking
Thank
to
you.
us. So yeah, Mark and Shauna, most of the people here are just out here watching this, sort of with mouths open, because it really is unbelievable to see something like this happen. And it appears that even in the last few seconds, the water pressure has lessened, so that's good news. And I think once that happens, the firefighters will be able to get into some of these homes and see exactly what the damage is. I know, people have just been worried, hoping that everyone's okay. I've seen firefighters going door to door, just making sure that people are around, that they're aware of what's happening, that they're okay. And then they just keep moving down the street, I guess trying to hit the homes or the areas that, are the biggest emergencies right now.
And Christina, we should reiterate that while that gentleman was out there kind of looking and seeing what was going on, authorities definitely do not want people doing that, heading to that area just to kind of check it out, right?
Yeah, and it's unbelievable. A lot of people have been driving through here in their cars. Fire crews are asking them, hey, move out of the way, please. Get out of the way. We're trying to help people. And I know it's hard for people to stay away. But really, at this point, you're really, causing more problems out here by coming out in your car because you're getting in the way of fire crews who are trying to do their job as quickly as they possibly can. I don't know if you can see some of the firefighters standing here in front of this house. Jay, I don't know if you can show them the fire crews over here. We'll try to give you a look. But right now they're standing in front of the house that has everyone out here worried because there is so much water in that house. I did see the homeowners. We thought maybe no one was in the home, but I did see the homeowners come out eventually. And so they seem to be okay, but they didn't seem to be doing much because, again, there's not a whole lot that people can do except stay out of the way of the water.
All right, Christina Flores live at the scene there. Again, let's just reset it all for you. Breaking news tonight off the top of 2 News at 10, 1700 South and Foothill Boulevard. a major water line break, about a 46-inch line, sending water, mud, boulders all down the street, and Shauna, some flooding, as you mentioned, firefighters getting reports of flooding in some homes.
Yeah, flooding in as many as 10 homes at this point. This happened a little after 8:30 tonight. One of the key things that I've taken away from tonight's coverage, people are being asked to take what water they do have in their home, put it in their bathtub, because they're waiting now for the water departments to come out and turn off the water. No word on how long it will take for everything to get back up and moving again. But Christina said this is an emergency situation. Fire crews not even able to handle it on their own, having to call in other agencies to kind of handle the situation out there.
Yeah, we got power crews, we got the water crews, we got the firefighters, and they're not quite sure what they're dealing with as far as damage. You mentioned that 10 people have called in and say they have some flooding in their homes, but we don't know. This water all has to go to the lowest point, you know. Water always tries to find the lowest point, and we're not quite sure how bad this is going to be by the time we get to it tomorrow. But right now, a pretty serious situation. Just stay away from 1700 South and Foothill. That's where all this is taking place. And we're going to keep all these guys in position. We're going to come back and talk to them in a minute, but we want to take a look at weather as well.
Yeah, it is the weekend. Everybody's kind of curious how the weather is shaping up for the weekend ahead of us. Lindsay, how are things looking?
Yeah, it's been beautiful for the past couple of days, guys. We've had all this sunshine and temperatures in the 70s. Absolutely gorgeous in the higher elevations, like you can see on this picture that Michael Bowman sent in from Brighton Ski Resort. Not a whole lot of snow up there yet, but we will be getting some snow eventually. Our next storm system gets here Sunday. It's right here. It actually moves in late tomorrow night and Sunday. This storm not bringing a whole lot of precipitation, so no rain, no snow. If we do see anything, we're just talking about isolated showers, mainly in the higher elevations. The big thing that this cold front is going to do as it moves in late tomorrow night is it's going to really drop the temperatures for the second half of the weekend. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, mostly clear skies across the state, but then clouds begin to increase during the afternoon as that cold front approaches. It moves through northern Utah tomorrow night and then continues to pass through the rest of the state during the overnight hours and into Sunday morning, issuing in those cooler temperatures by Sunday. So if you want one more day of the really warm weather, tomorrow is it. Partly cloudy skies with temperatures in the 60s and 70s for most locations. As I mentioned, the skies will start out sunny in the morning. These clouds begin to roll in later in the day. Southern Utah probably won't see a whole lot of cloud cover until Sunday, so just crystal clear skies down there tomorrow. Nephi at 70, Dugway 72 with increasing clouds by afternoon. Same thing here across the Wasatch Front, low 70s for our highs, so very similar to where we were today. Laketown at 61, Lewiston 68, and Logan will see a high temperature of 70 degrees. In Dixie, not a big drop with the temperatures as this frontal boundary moves through. That air is going to moderate quite a bit as it gets down to the south, so only dropping about 5 degrees by Monday behind this frontal boundary for those of you down to the south. Another little frontal system will come through Wednesday and Thursday, I should say. Breezy winds, temperatures dropping a little bit with that one as well, but overall another beautiful 7-day forecast for those of you in Dixie. In Salt Lake City, clear skies tomorrow morning and 48 degrees. We warm it up into the 70s once again for tomorrow with lots of sunshine in the morning and then increasing clouds by afternoon. Winds are going to kick up late in the day as the frontal boundary rolls through, and they're going to stay breezy on Sunday. Behind it, temperatures take a big dip down into the upper 50s on Tuesday, but we do warm it back up for Monday and Tuesday. By Tuesday, we're back up into the 70s. Next little system comes through Wednesday and Thursday. That one also looking like a fairly dry system, but it will drop our temperatures down into the 60s again for Thursday and Friday. Mark and Shauna.
All right, Lindsay, thank you very much.
Oh, do you have a lot to bring us up to date on
Friday night rivals, we are loaded. We got highlights from all over the place, some wild rivals. Plus, how about the most potent offense facing off against the top-ranked team in the state when we're talking sports next. It's another Friday night filled with rivals, and we had the defending 4A champs Timpview visiting Lone Peak live over on KMYU. Here's David James as the T-Birds were going for their 20th straight win.
Undefeated Timpview got off to a slow start. Lone Peak controlled the first quarter and a good chunk of the second quarter as well. Talmadge Gunther to Parker Richards for a 50-yard touchdown pass on the game's opening possession put Lone Peak up. They led 10-0 before Timpview woke up. Just before the half, Britton Covey scrambled for a touchdown to tie the game at 10. He threw a pair of touchdown passes in the second half, and Timpview wins the game 24-10 over Lone Peak. Lone Peak falls to 3-5. They could make the playoffs if they win their last 2 games. Timpview is 8-0 and still looking like the favorite to win the state title in Class 4A. I'll have more highlights coming up on KMYU Talking Sports. David James reporting from Lone Peak High School.
Thank you, David. Jordan Beat Diggers have scored 300 points on opponents this season. That makes them one of the most potent offenses in the country. But if anybody's got the answer, it's tonight's opponent, Adam Mikulich, at a big one tonight, Adam.
Well, the Beat Diggers have been score happy all season, Dave. At 6-1, they hit in a top-ranked Bingham tonight, where through 2 conference games, the minor defense has allowed just a single field goal. 3 points, Dave. Number 1, Bingham. Number 5, Jordan. Winner takes over sole possession of Region 3 tonight. Scoreless in the first quarter. We're digging in. Bingham's first drive of the game is capped off by senior Aaron Marsh and a 6-yard punch. First blood Miners. They take a 7-0 lead just like that, and they get the football back. Bingham's next drive of the game, they start throwing the football. Goal to go again. Kyle Gehrig rolls out and then finds Cameron Smith. 4 yards in the score makes it 14-0 Miners. And then it's 24-0 nearing the end of the half. Again knocking on the door. Gehrig drops straight back and then fires over the middle for Michael Green. 14 yards and another Bingham touchdown. Jordan never gave up. But it's Bingham with the 58-41 victory tonight. Moving forward, because of UEA, games will be played on Wednesday of next week. Bingham is on the road at Copper Hills. Jordan back at home to host Brighton. Huge region implications on the line in that one as well, Dave.
All hands on deck Wednesday night. And don't forget, by the way, how about this? KMYU is your home for Utah football next week. The Utes traveling to Oregon State on Thursday night. You're going to see it live on KMYU, which is where you're also going to see a lot more high school football highlights here in just a couple minutes. Just change the channel right now because this newscast is on KMYU right now.
Oh, okay.
So switch over to Comcast 643 or Satellite 12. You can do it right this second because we're there.
All right.
See how that works?
It's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, thank you very much.
Hey, a lot more coming up on that water main break, 1700 South and Foothill. We've got a live report coming up in just a couple minutes.
Keep it right here. Welcome back. We are revisiting now our breaking news story that's happening near Foothill Boulevard at this point. Emergency crews just beginning to start to assess how many homes have really been damaged by this water main break. A 48-inch pipe that broke a little earlier this evening and is causing chaos in that area.
Yeah, Christina Flores live. She's at the scene. She showed us a river of water running down the street earlier tonight. And Christina, it's still running. It looks like it's subsided a little bit, though.
Actually, quite a bit, Mark. It was quite a different story when we got here, about 40 minutes ago. Now, I think you could see some neighbors there and friends of some of the victims here. People rushed here in this neighborhood with shovels and sandbags, just trying to do what they can to help people whose homes were flooded. But yes, the water has subsided quite a bit. Not at all like it was, again, about 40 minutes ago. Now I think, the hard part happens for some of these homeowners. They're going to have to go in there and start trying to figure out how to clean up. It's still very busy out here. A lot of people out here tonight just kind of getting over the shock of everything that happened here tonight. But again, the water, it seems like they've got that under control. Now the cleanup begins for all the poor homeowners whose homes were really damaged by all the water here tonight. Back to you.
All right, Christina, thanks so much for the update.
Don't forget, this is going to be a developing story tomorrow for sure. We'll be talking to homeowners who suffered some damage, and we'll also get more on just how big of a pipe this was and what the fix is going to be.
Yeah, we, of course, will start our coverage tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7 o'clock. Be sure to join Amy Nay and Lindsay Stores. They'll be here to bring you the very latest.
Talking sports coming up on KMYU with Dave Fox.